Hi, I'm Carter M. Phillips, and today I'm going to be doing an audio commentary track for a short film that I made called They Came from the Attic, the revised cut, to be more specific. I worked on this project when I was a sophomore in high school from the ages 15 to 16. This is the photos you're looking at. I think I did a pretty good job color correcting them. There's no color, it's grayscale, but you know what I mean. The shades look really nice, the contrast. They were taken in my garage on a summer's day. Yeah, it was summer, and they were the inspiration for They Came from the Attic. I basically inspired myself. I mean, there were other inspirations, but I was looking at these photos I took just kind of for fun when I saw my attic was open, and I began developing a story based off of the photos I took, which looked really moody and atmospheric. And I made this project because, oh, and there's the logo. This was the first project in which I included the Eighth Wonder Productions logo. I I have not seen this film in a long time, so I honestly don't know if it holds up. Probably not. This was really the first big project I made. So this is from the original cut, and when I did the revised cut, I mainly, well, initially I did a lot of, cleaning up with the image. I did new color grading and all that, and then I began developing new scenes that I wanted to shoot for the film. And I looked so young there, and my fashion wasn't so good either in the summer. My shoes, you'll see, are really, I don't know. And as I was making the film, this is on the original cut. As I was making the original cut, I had a surgery on my chest coming up, which would have left me, well, which did leave me bedridden. I got a metal bar in my chest. It was the summertime, and I also had summer camp coming up, so I really didn't have much time to shoot anything. I think I shot it all in like 2 weeks, and I improvised it. I didn't know what the ending should be. I really like this shot. I always have. Um, this first scene is really good filmmaking. I think. I mean, from a directing standpoint, I mean, really, the cinematography is quite good too. But anyways, I didn't know what I was gonna shoot. It was all improvised, really. I mean, I had a general idea of how things would go, but I didn't know really what was gonna happen. I just wait for the sun to go down and start shooting. The narration too. I remember I re-record the narration for the revised cut, and it was I did it over and over and over again. And then after I got the takes I wanted, or after I got because there were two monologues at the beginning and end. After I got what I wanted, I replayed back the audio and over again until it sounded degraded. So I like record one on the iPad that I recorded it on, and then I would re-record that using my phone. So I would play that recording on my phone, then play it on the iPad. You know what I mean? So that would sound degraded. And I also got a tape recorder sound effect and the wind, and I'd like fade everything in and out. And I like this. I like this shot, by the way, because it really puts two shots into one. There's the shot of me going down the ladder, and then the shot of me um, closing the door. So other people would put two shots into that, and I put one shot into it. This is from an unfinished project, Schoolhouse Slaughter. I think I still have the footage for this. We used to have what were called flex days. It was on Wednesdays. I don't know who let this happen and whose idea this was at the school, but it was basically a free day. The classes were all called off, and it was open campus, and you would just walk into whatever class you needed to get caught up on. I'm guessing the students had unbelievably bad grades or something that year. And me and my friends, we were freshmen at the time and sophomores because they kept doing it into sophomore year. And this was shot in sophomore year when Gavin was at our school. We would just goof around the whole time. I mean, my grades were good enough. I wasn't failing any classes usually, so we would just goof around. And we eventually, without really thinking about it, just started recording, and next thing we knew, we were making a short film. This was after I did a Roastman and Dread in the Night,
Oh, what the hell?
and they came from the original cut, and it was also on one of these flex days that I showed Gavin. We went
Can't.
into
No, I
an
can't.
empty room, turned the lights off, and I showed him the original cut of They Came from the Attic.
All right.
And that was kind of when he got introduced to my
What?
films. We were planning on making um, a short film. I still want to make it with him called The Last Memories of Slumber, which we've started shooting many times. And last time it was at prom, after prom, at my school. Me and him, I didn't get a date to prom. This girl asked me out. And actually, that same girl, you can see her in Fragments of Paradise. But anyways, she asked me out and I just wasn't feeling it, so I said no. And then I kind of feel bad now because me and Gavin just broke into prom at my school. This is completely off topic, but I guess it's a fun anecdote. We broke into prom. We bypassed security, and we just we didn't pay and we didn't dress up. There's Ben, my man Ben. Look at my hair. Wow, wow. I look so young, and that jacket was not very. Oh, that's Alex Hanlon. Not Alex Hanlon. That's Alex LeBaron. I probably shouldn't say everyone's like full name. I've been friends with him since middle school. I mean, I'm a little bit more distant with him now. There's swearing in this movie. He says the F word. Fuck. Uh, he actually, we were gonna make a movie last summer, but nothing really happened of that. There's Tucker and then Aiden. I think he's wearing a mask. Anyways, me and Gavin broke into prom, and then after we got kicked out of
My
prom
English is an A,
because we
guys.
didn't pay, we went to a forest late at night and started shooting. Fragments of Lost Memories of Slumber. Anyways, we were trying to do that in October of sophomore year.
There's no point recording anymore.
Love you all.
Take two.
And I like that shot. And the way I edited, I had to like chop up the audio of these takes and then fade them in and out because the music, it was a music hallway, so they'd be playing notes, and melodies. And if I just did a rough cut, or not a rough cut, if I just cut it, a raw cut, it would sound incoherent. So the idea here is that Edmund Piercer's Tucker's character, and he dies. And then it shows all the characters that these monsters are going to take on the likeness of. It's kind of a weird idea, but it's the idea that, and I don't really explain it in the movie, because I thought it's up, I'll just leave it up to interpretation, really. And I thought it's gonna be, I don't really like it when movies explain themselves and treat the audience like they're stupid. So I don't usually. I like to. I think if you need to explain it with dialogue, it's not worth explaining. So hopefully people just vibe with the movie. Okay, this is getting into this routine sequence is getting into the shot for the revised cut stuff. Anyways, we were gonna do The Lost Memories of Slumber. It didn't work out because Gavin's father died. He doesn't live with his mom, and he moved over to a different town about 50 minutes away with his aunt and uncle. So that killed that. And this movie was really, the revised cut was made kind of out of the turmoil I was feeling for my friend moving away. It was a pretty rough time. I mean, we were pretty young, and Gavin's been my main man since second grade, really. I mean, me and him have been friends for almost a decade, maybe a decade already. I really like the shot of me sitting at the counter eating from that bowl, and there was actually nothing in it. It was an empty bowl. Okay, so here is something kind of cool. So you saw the clips. A lot of people don't really get it. The clips from the beginning at the school, that was supposed to be like a movie within a movie. The character. Oh, also, if you saw that picture frame, that was my three sisters in the picture frame in the Santa hats. So the idea was kind of, honestly, it's been so long, I can't remember all the ideas I had for this movie. It was kind of complicated, but And the idea was he was a filmmaker, and that was like a film he made with his friends. Edgar Allan Poe. I love Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft literature. I mean, them as people, they were kind of weird in real life, but their literature was really good. So anyways, what was I even talking about? I don't remember. I'm 10 minutes in though, so I'm not gonna stop. So yeah, basically he was supposed to be a filmmaker, like myself, but he's not supposed to be me, or is he? There's kind of like this play on identity. Like, is this guy supposed to be me, or is he supposed to be a version of me, or is he not supposed to be me? So anyways, and he watches movies to escape his loneliness, and you see from his seemingly unfinished short film that he made at school that he at one point had a lot of friends, but then after Edmund Pierce, the guy that Tucker plays, died, all of these friends, left his life, and he kind of became a hermit. And so his worst fear really is his past, and his past comes at him through these monsters. These monsters these creatures that live in the attic that shapeshift and turn into his dead friends. And it's also really morbid that he has to kill his dead friends because these monsters are luring him like sirens. And it's about really this guy running from his past. I mean, I'm not saying I did a good job with this story, but that was kind of the idea. The other thing is, considering how young we were when we made this, we did okay, it was mainly me. Unlike some of my later projects, this one I did a lot of the heavy work on, but we were all very young when we made this film. Like, it's pretty crazy that it turned out as good as it did. And there's Larry. By the way, my thing is lagging, so I don't know like how up to date I am compared to you. And me falling down the stairs, that was before I got the bar in my chest, so I was able to do small stunts like that. And I'd still do stunts even though I got a bar in my chest. The shot of me looking out the window, and of me, like, from the inside looking out the window, and then from the outside looking out the window, my mom was the camera woman. That was the only adult that I got to help me. And there's a shot coming up of me in the laundry room, and the doorknob twisting. That was really hard to do, and that was done. My dad was actually in the living room, like down the hallway, but you don't know because the audio's changed over, and that was done on my cell phone. So, and also I had no internal microphone, or I had no microphone. I used the internal microphone in the devices I used. It was mainly the school iPad I had. And I edited it on iMovie, and I had no tripod. I'd use stacked books, boxes and stuff, or I just lean it against something on the ground. That's why it's got so many low angles. And black and white, because I was using such a shitty camera, I used black and white because I didn't like the way the colors looked. I'd try to edit the colors to make them look better, and it just wouldn't come out right. I also didn't have much lighting equipment. I used some good lights. I had a big LED. I had a couple lights, but I didn't have much. So right now I'm seeing the shot of the door. The shadows also were kind of an important thing because I wanted it to feel very shadowy, like there could always be something lurking in the darkness. The audio was pretty interesting too. Initially it starts out, it's like school stuff. Okay, so initially it starts out, it's got the wind. I record wind just on a whim because I was walking out of school and waiting for my ride. It was before I had a car. I think it was freshman year, and the wind was, because of the area of the school, the way the architecture was set up, the wind sound was intensified and I could just hear it. So I recorded that thinking it could be useful for another project, and it was. I used it for They Came From the Attic when I did the revised cut. But it starts out very stylized and atmospheric. Then it goes back full into the memory sequence, and I did some weird stuff with the audio where at the beginning it's just his memories as they are. Then like in this sequence, it's, I think what I did is I looped audio from his house. Like I put the camera next to that one of the vents, and you could hear the ambiance of the vent in the background. I also made the music for this film, which is why it sounds so amateur. I mean, this is pure outsider art, really, as you can tell by looking at it. It's definitely outsider art. It's not very professional. It's very amateur, especially compared to, like, if you think the stuff I'm making now in 2024 is amateur, and look at this. So, anyways, what was I talking about? I don't remember. Oh yeah, the audio. So then, after the Swan Lake sequence, there's a sequence of Swan Lake. Swan Lake is an important song because it's used in The Mummy. It's also used in Dracula. And bear with me, because I haven't talked about this in a long time. But it's used in Dracula, and it's also used in The Mummy. But Dracula is my favorite film. That's the movie that got me into making movies and loving movies. So this character is obsessed with monster movies. So Swan Lake transforms him, or transforms this into, he doesn't know exactly. The scene right here, when he's on, I love the shot of the mirror. Oh, it's so cool. Goes from a mid shot to a close up, just because there's that mirror reflection. That's a good shot setup. So, anyways, and the lighting is really good there too. It just looks great. So, anyways, he's looking into the mirror and he's realizing that he's slipped into one of his movies, and he's such a movie fanatic that this is like a dream come true. So it's almost like a masochistic thing where like he hates it. He hates this situation and he's afraid and tormented, and yet he's at the same time in bliss. So anyways, and then there's also the sadistic idea that, you know, he's possibly getting pleasure out of killing these people that look like his friends. So anyways, after the Swan Lake, and I also think my acting is surprisingly good there. I think I'm a pretty bad actor, so I don't know what happened there. And I remember when I was recording the bathroom scene, my sister, that's the connecting bathroom to what at the time was my sister's room, and now it's my room. I'm recording it, this audio commentary in here. But anyways, it was, I remember she was on the phone with her boyfriend. She's still with him, actually, somehow. And, no, that came off sounding really rude. And, she was like, my brother's in my bathroom. I don't even know what he's doing. And I was like, yeah, I probably seem like really, like, weird right now, just walking into the bathroom, standing there and, like, recording stuff. But, hey, it's for the movie, you know, I gotta chase my dreams. So, anyways, and I didn't care to explain, I just remember overhearing her saying that while she was on the phone with him. Anyways, then after the Swan Lake, it's like he's fully transformed into this nightmare world where he doesn't know how much is real, if he's imagining it. And the audience can kind of decide, is he imagining all of this, or is this actually real, and is this actually happening in front of him? And I could touch more on that later, because there's actually more I could go off of there. But anyways, then you get the audio hiss of Dracula. So the audio is actually telling a story, as well as the visuals, which is interesting, with very little dialogue. This is another thing I liked about this film, is it doesn't have much dialogue. And I like movies that tell the story visually. This was the perfect prompt to do that with. And I think my movies are starting to rely a little bit too much on dialogue, actually. So anyways, Swan Lake was the perfect choice for this, and then you get the audio hiss of Dracula. And there's that one point where the character, and I'm telling you now because I might forget, when I'm shooting and I shoot Tucker's character, basically the first time you see like a reveal that, oh, these are shapeshifters. The first time you see him, wait, what am I saying? Oh, there's a sound. You can hear someone talking. They say something like hello or hi or something, and I have no idea how that came in, but I was doing so much crazy stuff with the editing. Or not crazy, but I was doing so much stuff layering audio file onto audio file, and then I also had I was trying to like hypnotize the audience and make everything feel otherworldly. So I also put the merry-go-round going back and forth after a while, had the merry-go-round going back and forth on a loop. So there was so much audio layering that I think it came from one of the actors, probably Dwight Fry in Dracula, saying a line and it just cuts off, but I don't know exactly what happened there. By the way, I shot this over the winter. So me and Gavin were trying to do The Lost Memories of Slumber, but after Gavin moved away, I ended up just doing the revised cut because I wasn't happy with the rushed outcome of They Came from the Attic, and I thought, man, all my movies are shit, so I wanted to make something that I would be really proud of. And no one really took me seriously, nor do they still. But I really felt like at school no one took me seriously, and I was like, because I'm kind of a class clown, and I thought, like, I wanted something. I wanted to prove to them and to myself that I could actually make good art, that I could make great films, and that shot of the dog, that's my dog Oscar. So we trained him to like sit on this like mat called place. We said go to place, and I told him to go there. And I said go to place, and then he wasn't supposed to run up at me, and then he did. So then I improvised, and I was like, okay, at this point, I'm gonna shoot the dog. And you don't know for sure if the dog was a mimic, aka a creature that was transforming and pretending to be a dog, or if it was the real dog. But I thought it was kind of fucked up that he killed a dog, And anyways, yeah. And we also, the way I did the color grading, like, it didn't really look right. I couldn't get me to look good, or I couldn't get everything else to look good, but also to make the dog visible. So it's actually two shots put together, two different versions of the color grading put together. There are a couple other instances of that where it's optical effects, and I did that for the shot of the eyes peering out from the attic. And that scene too, I really like the merry-go-round scene. It's just cool, and I think I did a good job. I'm surprised this was 37 minutes. I'm surprised this movie was as long as it was, as it's just me running around my house shooting at things. But anyways, merry-go-round scene, I would see like photos. Both my grandmothers and my mother watch a lot of true crime stuff, and like on TV, and they'd always show like the killers, like terrible serial killers, and then there would be like scenes that show them, like, that show their baby pictures, and it's like, oh, that's Gavin pretending to be Larry, and there's Aiden smiling. That was a cool shot too. The editing wasn't so bad in this movie, and these are basically pillow shots. They're like the horror version of what Ozu was doing with pillow shots, where it just gives the audience time to think, and maybe it'll kind of creep them out or hypnotize them a little bit. Anyways, now what the fuck was I talking about? I can't remember. Man, what was I talking about? I don't know. But yeah, those are pillow shots. There's Aiden. We had to do that take over and over again, and I kind of feel bad because that really hurt. He's heavy, so it was hard to move him. It was really hard, but the shot looks good in the end. That was cool too. Look at the lighting there. I used the LED light for that. That looks nice. That was actually done in reverse, and then that was done on the other side of the door. So anyways, I can't remember what I was talking about, but look at that. Wow, good lighting. Oh, and then there's the idea of it, like, every time the mimics would come, like, time would kind of slow down. Wow, this film it looked really good. Yeah, we did a good job with that. Anyways, this was the first time I was like recruiting my friends to make movies, because I just thought it would be a burden to them. but they were all interested in being in this movie, so I was like, might as well. So and then after that, it kind of became a thing where it was like, okay, so am I gonna be in the next one? Yeah, I'll get you in the next one. Or then people would watch this movie and be like, can I be in the next one? Some people would say, can I be in the next one? But then all of a sudden, I've got the next one. The script is ready, and all of a sudden, all those people that want to be in the next one, where are they? They're gone. So yeah, I mean they're around, but every time I try to shoot a scene with them, they're like, oh, I'm busy, or they show up 2 hours late. That's kids. That's this generation. Maybe when they start getting older, they'll be more reliable. Anyways, um, another interesting idea was kind of like the slow reveal of the mimics. First, they are. Oh yeah, so the merry-go-round scene. The idea, I would see like pictures of like serial killers before they were serial killers, when they were just little kids, and I think, how did that child become such a terrible monster? So I had this idea where, okay, firstly, the character looks at himself in the mirror and he's like, is this really me? He's seeing him as he is now, and he's like, firstly, he realizes that he's in. He basically is realizing he's in like a movie. And then he's realizing, he's like, what the fuck? Um, he kind of realizes what he has become, and he sees himself as the audience sees him, and then he sees himself later when he was a kid, and he thinks, how did I get to this point of desperation where I can't even tell what's real anymore? Look at that fake blood. There's fake blood kind of near my mouth, but you can't really see it that well. And I remember, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I remember seeing some of these shots when I was shooting them in black and white. I remember thinking, ooh, I kind of look cute there. My hair looked pretty good, actually. It complimented me well. Um, it was well lit, so I mean, what can I say? I lit myself well. It was just the light from the hallway, but I positioned it so it would shine directly under me. And the acting, I don't like the acting so much here, but oh well. Me and Tucker screened this movie. Tucker would show everybody this movie. Me and Tucker screened this movie to our English class, and we didn't have enough time to finish it. I didn't really want to screen it, but he convinced the teacher to screen the movie, and it was so awkward watching the movie in front of an audience. And they didn't get it. They were like, "What is this?" And they also weren't paying attention. They'd be like working on their homework, and then they'd look up and be like, "Wait, what? What's going on?" So it was doomed from the start. But man, and then these girls were talking to me, and they were just belittling me. It was terrible. It was terrible. They were like, "Oh, you made that? Oh, wow. So like, what? What is going on?" It was like, just shut the fuck up. Like, I know you're trying to be friendly, but you were talking down to me so much. It was terrible. Anyways, it reminded me of Federico. Not that you can even compare me to Federico Fellini, but it kind of reminded me of Federico Fellini when. Oh, and I love the edit there of Gavin dying. And actually, when I first watched that, I was like, oh shit! Like, it actually kind of made me sad, and I got teary eyed because it's my best friend. You know, I don't want him to die. So, hey, it's made me kind of teary eyed. And then that shot outside, it's kind of almost as if to be like, and life goes on, and everything that happened in his house, it might not, even if it did happen and he didn't imagine it, it might as well have not existed because, hey, it's all contained within his house, and there's no proof it ever happened, so who's to say it did? And you also, the shot of Gavin, he smiles, and I thought that was so fascinating, is that he dies smiling, like he almost remembers something. Does he remember? Does he have the same memory as the real Gavin that this creature is taking the likeness of, or is he smiling because he remembers something? It 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 blurs the line between, is this a human or is this a creature, whatever, you know. I didn't explain it very well, but yeah. So, anyways, I shot the scene of me descending the stairs on the 100th anniversary of Nosferatu, by the way, and I watched Nosferatu that night to celebrate. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, 2022. Weird. My acting got better throughout the film. The other idea was like, as the film starts, the acting is really flimsy and amateur, and as it goes on, it's almost like as the story gets more inconceivable, the acting gets more realistic. That way, it kind of pulls you in. So that was kind of an interesting thing I was playing with there, just as a way to not reshoot the entire film, I suppose. We initially were going to make a second movie that came from the basement, where Gavin's character would walk in, would walk in the house, and he's like a lone drifter that wanders the countryside. It was going to be cool, but we didn't do that. And the pattering rain I got because it was school. I was in the library, and the rain was pattering, and I thought it would be perfect for the movie, so I just recorded it. And I remember whistling and recording that in the stairway. The ending, it's like an anti-ending because he just goes back to his same habit of watching a movie, which is exactly what I would do. And the most traumatic experience can happen to me, and I'll just watch a movie because it's escapism. It'll just make me feel better to forget about everything. There have been days in my life where I prefer to just sleep through all the pain and watch a movie. That way, it doesn't really feel like living. To be completely honest, just because I was so exhausted and anxious all the time. And I'm not really at that point anymore now, thankfully. This is a really weird movie, though, I'll say that. Oh, and for Fake Blood, we still do this. For Fake Blood, I use Crystal Light. I usually put it in a water bottle. I just shake the water bottle up. For this movie, we didn't do that, and we just get Crystal Light. My mom drinks Crystal Light, so I just take it from the cupboard and use that. Oh, and the Phantom of the Opera. I really love The Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney. That was the first silent film I ever saw. I watched it when I was like 10. A silent movie, and I love that film. I think it's a masterpiece. It's a beautiful, enchanting film. And really, I mean, I like the Criterion Collection type films, like Bergman and Fellini and Hitchcock and the French New Wave, Truffaut, Godard, Chabrol. But I still really like those gothic horror, those monster movies that got me into cinema in the first place, because I do think that they're pretty good. The end of the film is "You Are My Sunshine," sang by Mississippi John Hurt, who is a folk blues guitarist that I really like and who I was really into at the time. So I got that rendition of "You Are My Sunshine." And then my dad, I think it was my dad, turned the microwave on, and it kind of just fit somehow with the fade to brightness. So yeah, and this shot in slow motion of me walking up the stairs. I love the film Picnic at Hanging Rock, and I had watched that recently for the first time. And the ending of Picnic at Hanging Rock, I won't spoil it for you, but it's amazing. And there's a certain usage of slow motion and music, and it goes back to an earlier shot in the film after this just crazy, not crazy, but this scene, this one scene, the final scene of the movie, and you're left like, what the fuck? Then it goes back to a really important shot earlier in the film, in slow motion with music playing over it, and it creates this crazy moment, and then it freeze frames. And I wanted to do something kind of like that. So that's what I did. And then I did like the long exit music of the carousel. It's the carousel music that you hear. And I played that on like Christmas Eve with my grandma Barbara Santos. Shout out to Grandma Barb. She was staying over for Christmas, and after she went to bed, I realized I was like the last one awake. So I got that recording of all the carousel songs I wanted. So I wanted, I think, 3 tracks for the movie, and I got 3 tracks. There's also the lightning is from the movie Frankenstein. But yeah, and this movie really was the start of the Eighth Wonder crew, and it was really the beginning of my filmography. This was my first narrative film, and I'm still surprised by how good it turned out. But I did watch a lot of movies and learn a lot about filmmaking before making this film. And it's been an obsession since I was like 10. It's just everything is movies. So watch a lot of movies and practice making them and learn about how great movies are made and what makes a great movie. So I guess it's not that surprising. And I'm not saying it's a great movie. I mean, it's far from a masterpiece. Oh, and I guess it's kind of cool, and I think I've got enough time. While the exit music was playing, that's a black screen, but then I layered it with using the green screen effect with another shot of blackness where the camera's zooming in, so you kind of got more grain and pixels, and it's just looped. So it's masked over that, and they're both done in black and white. I switched them both into black and white, just so that there's extra layer to it. I probably forgot to talk about a couple really important things, to be honest. Probably missed like the most important stuff to talk about with this movie, but yeah, it was crazy. It took a lot of effort. Oh yeah, the whole iMovie thing. I was editing it on iMovie. iMovie's for like making like a 5-minute video, and this was a 37-minute movie. There was initially going to be an end credit sequence. Oh. Yeah, there was initially supposed to be an end credit sequence, but that didn't happen. I had to delete that. It's gone forever. But there's going to be an end credit sequence hyping up the second movie, which I haven't made. Maybe someday. Probably not. But yeah. And then iMovie, it would always crash. So I would have to... Oh man, I'm not even going to get into that. That's for another video.